76, when the first wineries were being built. If you know Dominion Winery back in the day, there was 19 wineries that kicked in $30,000 each to make our first co-op on the East Coast, which was Dominion Winery in Culpeper. This is one of those 19 wineries that threw in 30 grand each to try to make a winery happen. Brought in Russ Hearn from Australia, very, very good, talented winemaker who's still in Long Island, and made a winery that was the first bankrupted winery, also in Virginia, which is what happens when you get 19 people who know nothing about the industry, make them all board members to run a winery nobody knows anything about. So a lot of things were learned back in that day. I bought this place 17 years ago as an existing vineyard, opened this winery. In wine production, at first in Virginia, we took cow fields, kicked the cows off and planted grapes. And it was a good concept, and this wasn't that much different. But what was different here, this started with 2 acres of vines, 1 acre going east and west, 1 acre going north and south, 9 different grape varieties. Over the course of time, found out that north and south is better, found out that Chardonnay is best. Now we have 15 acres of Chardonnay, nothing else. So that evolutionary process to find out what grows best on your property is, I think, very, very important. We work with 23 different vineyards in Virginia. All but 1 is north and south. The east-west one I have continual problems with, and it's always a problem, and it's Viognier, and it normally goes into our cheap and cheerful white wine blend because it doesn't make good Viognier. The reason for north and south in Virginia is when the sun comes up in the morning, I don't know if you notice, sometimes it's kind of wet in the morning. That can sometimes be a problem. So when the sun comes up and eventually comes out, it will dry the leaves and the sun will intersect to make the fruit a little bit drier. The problem with humidity is 2 things: moisture. Moisture plus temperature equals disease pressure as a grower. So if you have a drier canopy, you have less disease pressure. We try to keep less growth under the vine, so as it grows and evaporates, you have less condensation issues. As the sun comes up in the morning, the sun will hit this pane, dry out the fruit. Midday, the sun will not hit the fruit, so the canopy protects it from sunburning. Grapes get sunburn like we do. On the other side, the fruit and the canopy can get hit from this side. So what we also go through and do selective leaf pulling. By selectively leaf pulling, you have more sun on the fruit on this side and the afternoon on the other side, so you end up with sun hitting the fruit on both sides. And if you have east-west rows, you don't have sun on the fruit. Because we do have cloud cover, you may have noticed that once or twice, that the cloud cover protects the fruit from getting as ripe as we want it. In California, I think they grow grapes there. I've heard that before. I heard it doesn't rain or get cloudy very often either in the song once. And when it doesn't get cloudy, the leaves need to protect the fruit from being sunburned. Because we have cloud cover here and fewer measurements of sunlight, we pull leaves away. More sunlight gets to the fruit, so we're trying to balance our ripeness and malic acid ratios and stuff like that. So we find that north-south rows do best in Virginia. This is called a vertical shoot position canopy system. It's simple, it works, and if you notice, this is not a very pretty vineyard. We are 34 years old at this vineyard. First time ever we were hit by frost, had a 50 to 60% crop loss here. Very, very devastating for us. First year in 34 years, ain't bad in the big picture, and so we haven't had a nice little line of crops here. Also, we've had the second earliest bud break ever in 34 years. We had the earliest bloom ever. Harvest is 100 days on average from bloom to harvest, so we will have our earliest harvest ever because we had our earliest bloom ever. And with a lot of rain, a lot of heat, it's been a very difficult year because heat plus moisture equals disease pressure. Do the math on that one. We've had a hard time this year. So the vines are not as pretty as they should be. The quality of fruit this year will not be stellar. How's that?
That's being truthful.
That's
honest.
Will it be Luna?
I'm sorry?
Will it be Luna?
Luna being...
As opposed to Stella.
Oh, yeah. Yin and yang. It'll be, what do they call it? A good restaurant for.
Good.
Anyway, in a nutshell,